So today we're going to be tackling why this thing keeps overheating on me. So now that I've got it tuned and running decent, for some reason this car cannot hold temperature. If it's driving, it's fine. When it's doing a pull, it's perfectly fine, it holds temp. But as soon as I stop and idle, the car will sit and creep temperature up until it's overheated. I've only let it get to like 230. I think it hit almost 240 actually. It's not good at all. Since I just copied what somebody had done on the internet, I was looking at what their fan situation was. Come to find out, the Mishimoto fans that I put on it, so those guys, the Mishimotos, are like 1,000 CFM a piece lower than the ones that the person is running that did this. So with that being said, you have like 1,100 CFM versus the Durrell ones that they suggested that are like almost 2,100 CFM. That is a huge, huge difference. I have my old crusty fans that I bought off of the cheap bay. These are about 1,800 CFM. So as a interim kind of thing, I'm going to put this on and see if it helps out, because 3,500 CFM versus like 2,200 or 2,400. It was 2,400 what it equaled on these ones. It's quite a bit different. So that's almost like 2 of these fans equals 3 of these as far as CFM goes. Let's put that theory to a test, and we'll try it out and see if it helps. Worst case, it helps marginally, and if that's the case, then I buy some other fans, and this works in the meantime. Oh, also, if you're thinking, well, how do you know those cheap eBay fans work? Those are the ones I ran on the car for a couple of years, and they worked. I had drove the car on the street for a little while, and that's what was on it. They were sufficient, so... Well, hopefully this isn't a sign on how this is going to go. One of the first bolts is already snapped. So, guess I will try and remove that while it's here. Great. Well, what an interesting turn of events. Can you tell me the difference between these 2 fans? Because I can't. I didn't even pay attention when I put them in initially. So you have your Mishimoto 10 blade balanced. Your eBay 10 blade balanced. Same exact blade design. So this possibly won't work. I'm gonna go ahead and swap them, but I'm gonna say my $30 eBay fans work just as good as my $140 Mishimoto fans. It's really interesting. Well, that one's different though too, to an extent, like the back cover. Single bolt, exposed, no plate. That one is a plate, 4 screws. I was playing with them for a second. Let's see if I can show you this. So this is eBay one. Dead silent. No play. That one has a bunch of noise. I don't know if you can hear it. No slop. No play. But it's almost like you can hear the bearing or something in that one. Ooh. That sounds like shit. Oh. You're telling me my $30 eBay fans have better motors in them? Okay then, I'll get those put in. Alright, so here's what I figured out what I was going to do. You only see one fan up front now, right? So I'm hoping this setup works a lot better. So you have one pusher, one puller. I was able to trim some of that off on the other side and get it back behind there, behind that turbo. The idea is, hopefully, this one will do the best it can. I mean, Pulling is obviously a lot better, and this one will push what it can. But there's probably an inch or so overlap between the two of them right there, so it'll get super air. We'll finish getting this back together. I still got to get the hood support, the bumper support back in. And then we can start it up and see if that actually did anything or if I'm just wasting my time. I think that'll help out a lot being on this side. Pull definitely works a lot better if you can do it in any situation. A little update on this that broke on me. Well, I just happened to have a nut that was the right thread pitch for a screw, oddly enough. And there was enough hanging out that that thing is on there. It's not going anywhere, so if it fits, it ships. These new injectors are just running so well. It fires and starts so great. It definitely takes just a second longer for it to start, but once it does, get out of here, no problem. I'm gonna let it warm up, turn the fans on, and we'll see how it goes from there. All right, the fan should be kicking on here in a second. 185. You can see it down in this corner, right there. All right, there's 185. Let's see if they're on. That one's on. Oh yeah, that one's on too. Close it. I want to see if it'll heat manage. I'll check back in a minute. So with the hood closed, it's steadily been rising. I'm hoping it won't get much higher than like 210, right? 211. I'm gonna open it up and see if I can cool it down. Hopefully those temps started coming down. Yeah, there they go. This car is just terrible for heat mitigation. Okay, so I've not been the best at filming with the Camaro on where we're at, what we're doing, and what the process, and what's all going on. So, just a little update. The car is running great. I was having a weird little coolant issue that I figured out. I think at least. I guess we'll find out. But I figured I'm just going to lump all this video into one. Everything I've done up to this point, because there's not really enough to break it up into sections, and it's been long enough. Tomorrow we are going racing up in Evanston. As you can see right now, it's very wet out. Tomorrow there's a slight chance it'll rain, but I was really hoping to wash the car, get everything pulled out and set up, so I might just pull everything out and put it on the trailer, but obviously it's going to be a wet one, so I can't wash it. But since my slicks are a Ford bolt pattern, I got some Chevy to Ford adapters and some hub adapters. These are some really thick ones. They are 1.5 inches thick. We've got some series studs on them, a couple of helmets, and I've done a couple things in here as well. I've got the car tuned and running pretty decent. I ended up making just this little mount for it to sit on. I need to put a bend into this. I'll do that so that it doesn't flop everywhere. But I'm going to clean this up, put that back in, try and bolt this up a little bit. I've got some stuff in here in the back. Back here I'm going to clean out. I might take the seats out. And I did a couple things in the engine bay. I'll show you that real quick. Oh, I'm melting. I did the brackets for the radiator. Got an air filter on it. Obviously, we got the 2100cc injectors, new rails. Showed you the fan blades. It's been a while since I made any videos, so I'm just trying to go over things. You're just getting drenched. Big old drop just landed on my camera. One thing that is concerning, that I know it was a temporary patch, but it's already starting to blow out on both sides. You can see it over here on that wire. Shouldn't be there. And you can see it up along the frame. It's already blown out. I plan on it only lasting through this event. A couple passes is all I'm looking for, if I make it. A couple of things I'm worried about at this event is that the slicks I'm running, these ones, are about 8 years old. Pretty dry. I don't know if they're going to hook. This is a slick only event, so that's why I'm running them. Also, the rear end, it is still the factory 10 bolt, which is not, it does not have the best reputation for even a stock automatic car. And obviously, we're somewhere around 450, 500 to the tire. That being said, I'm still running about 9-10 pounds, just wastegate pressure to try and mitigate anything really bad happening to this rear end. And also, the shift from first to second there's quite a bit of drop on the Turbo 400. So I'm hoping that the new torque converter, there's more of a slip between them, I guess, if you'll say. So I'm gonna I raised the rev limit to 7,200. I'm gonna try and hit almost rev limiter when I do it. So I'll shift somewhere around like 7,100, because there'll be a little bit of buffer, maybe 7,000. I'm hoping that will save the motor from dipping too far and just tossing a rod. That's essentially what's gonna kill the motor. It's gonna toss the rod. Everything else is on par. So maybe when it shifts, it'll load up, have more boost, and toss the rod. I don't know. On the street right now, it just spins on that shift. So if I hook on the track, something that's prepped, we could be seeing some windows in the block. But given everything, and hopefully it's all good, I hope this thing goes somewhere to a high 6, low 7 in the 8th mile. So when I post the times, it's 8th mile. If you were thinking it's a quarter, it'll look great, and it's not. So given that the rain clears up, we'll be there tomorrow. Alright, so as you can see, we are back. So I did not film very much while we were there. I kind of got distracted by tending to the car, and we went up with some friends, and the wife came along, so I was more focused on trying to get the car set up and everything, and I failed on the first pass, so I forgot to turn on the in-car cameras. Luckily, my wife was there to at least get the run, but I'm very happy with how it ran. Very first pass, it went 780. Even with me driving like crap. I misshifted a automatic. I went from first to third gear. So because I don't have a gated shifter, that actually I shifted from first right into third, and it took it. Well, as soon as I realized that, I shifted back into second and let the car do the rest of the work, where it finally picked up and took off, and it ended up at like 95, almost 96 miles an hour at the end of the run. All right, so I brought this up to show you a little bit better on what's going on. This is the first run. As you can see, so I came up on the converter. Let's see, we're about 3,400. That's where it stalled out, and it made 0.4 psi. So essentially half a pound of boost. It's not great. And then once I let off and go full throttle, so this purple line is full throttle, it's now making 1.6 psi. So we're on our way to making 2 pounds pretty quickly. That's just from being able to floor it at 100%. But here's where I wanted to show you. So this is peak. We're at 6,900 RPM, so that guy right there. And when I shift, see this giant dip? So we go down to 5,600, okay? Where it comes back to about 6,000 RPM. Okay, we're back at 6,000. So it was a second that I was in third gear before I realized and shoved it back. So there alone would have made the run even quicker, would have made a huge difference. That being said, this was only like 9.5 pounds during the entire run. So you can see we're 9.3 psi almost basically the entire time. It holds pretty steady. Another thing, so this that I just added is oil pressure. It should not dip like this. So out here we're 64 psi. We're at 25 there, so it's what it dips to, which is not good. I think what's going on is that I am low on oil for what I should be, because once it the G-forces settle from the first gear, second to third to second, you can see it comes back and holds great oil pressure once it kind of settles down. So I'm gonna slap some more oil in it, and hopefully that will take care of all that, and I won't have any more issues with the oil pressure dipping like that. And then here's the second run. So this one I went 850. The car felt a little weird. I don't know what it was, even though I didn't say much during that pass. It didn't feel right, but still ran great. I launched it 3100 RPM, still in vacuum, like half a pound of boost. You can see when I come out here, 100% throttle, we're still in vacuum. You can hear it in the video how lazy it is. So here's the boost curve right here, and how comes in lazy. I should have shown you on the other one, but if you go back, it actually comes out and then up. So that's probably one of the reasons why this was so slow, is it took so long to get into boost. But you know, we're out here just trying things. And then in this, of course, you can see shifted to 6900 and it goes flat until it picks up again. So it's really riding that converter right there. That's how it should look, nice and flat. There should not be any big dips right here like in that other one. Same story as the other one on oil pressure. Dips right in the middle and comes back at the end. Also, boost was down like a pound and a half, so it held 8 psi pretty much the entire time other than the shift, which it did a slight spike of almost 9 psi and then immediately falls down to 8 basically the rest of the run. So yeah, that was 7.98 pounds all the way out. It doesn't even get close to 8.5, so I definitely need to look into that and figure out why it didn't make 9 pounds. It should make 9 pounds regardless. It was just on the wastegate. Overall, I'm very ecstatic how the car performed. It did way better than I could have imagined, and the way I drove it, it did what it needed to, and I was the issue. So with all excuses aside, I think it was a great day.